Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing an aquascape for the 60-gallon aquarium. I'm going to be using all this dragonstone, and I marked out the sides for how big the 60-gallon aquarium is. So let's get started on this aquascape. And I started off by grabbing the biggest chunk of the dragonstone, and I'm using like this wool stuff for attaching the dragonstone together. And I'm trying to make these towers. I'm going to make a couple of them. Just trying to fit these pieces and see what works. It's a very tedious process, but definitely rewarding. And at first I was using super glue and I just didn't have enough of it. So I would switch to a hot glue gun, but I wouldn't recommend switching to a hot glue gun because it's not very good for attaching rocks, but I just what I had. So we'll see how that holds up. And looks like I'm done with this tower. It's going to start on a new one. Grabbing the other bigger chunks as the base. And that first piece that I did use in one of my old aquascapes. So I'm excited to reuse it. Grab some more of this wool to make it easier to glue. Trying to find similar pieces for the towers. It's all about just finding what fits and then trying to balance them. Okay, and now I'm using the hot glue gun. Like I said, I would not recommend using a hot glue gun for attaching hardscapes, so we'll really see how this holds over time, but just what I had. It definitely was not an easy process to get these towers to stand properly and make sure that they were stable. Kind of going for this hanging look for this rock for the second tower. It's going to be the two main pieces of the aquascape. And this is going to be the back tower. I wanted this one to be a little bit taller. Once I got figured out how I was going to stack it, it's time to start gluing stuff together. There you go. That's another tower done. And I wanted to work on the front one a little bit more, as well as these other side towers. Got this one figured out how I want to stack it, so it's time to start gluing stuff together. Okay, that's another tower down. Just one more tower, and I will be ready to put them in the 60-gallon aquarium, which will be the scariest part. Luckily, I'll have it sitting on like this egg crate, so it's not making contact with the glass, but there is a chance that it could fall and crack the glass, and then I would not be able to complete this aquascape, and I would have to get a new aquarium, which luckily that's not what ended up happening, but it was a very stressful process. Just working on putting these pieces together and fitting them properly. This is the final tower that I'm going to work on. This one's going to be a little bit smaller than the other one, mainly because I was running low on material. I ended up using all my dragonstone, which I'm very happy about because I haven't done very many aquascapes with dragonstone. And I was trying to make this one a little bit similar to the second tower, kind of with the hanging shape. And I did achieve that. So I'm very happy with that. Making sure these are secure. Okay, now I'm ready to place all these rocks. Now this is very scary. If any of these fall, breaking the glass. But I'm setting them on these little egg crates so it's not making contact with the glass, as well as it's more stable, because I am putting shell dweller cichlids in this aquarium and they like to dig up sand. So I need to make sure that these towers are stable and won't get knocked over. Going for sort of a canyon, and with the other two towers on the sides to help kind of frame things in. And there you go. That is the Aquascape, and I will start adding sand to this soon. Just shifting things around, making sure it looks how I want it to before I add some sand. And I'm using a brown Congo sand. I really like the darker color of the sand. And I like the thickness of the grain of the sand. It's not fine. And then I'm going to use some shells for the shell dweller cichlids. I will have to get more in the future because these shells are just a little bit too small, but they're definitely a good addition. Just sprinkling these around, making them fall naturally. And then once I'm done with that, I'll probably position these shells so that the openings are facing upwards, so when the shell dwellers are in the fish tank, that they have access to the shells. and putting the lids to make sure it fits, because that one tower in the back is tall enough that it sticks out of the aquarium. And these are plexiglass lids. And I'm going to put the light bar on the aquarium. I think this light bar is a little too small, so I will switch that out eventually. And here's the final aquascape. Thank you for watching.